And here is the Boox Go 6 Gen 2. So we have an evolution of the Go 6 that was released a couple of years ago, I think. The format is pretty much the same from the front, but the housing around and what we have on the back here, that's the biggest change as far as the design goes. So you have this kind of ridged thing, which is really pretty to look at, and it's very pleasant to the touch. But there's one problem with that. Even though it feels really high quality and it's executed really nicely, so there's really no problems here as far as the execution goes. The problem is this. It's a very slippery type of a surface, and these ridges, they don't do much other than feel nice. They really do feel nice under the hand, but they are incredibly slippery. So for me, at first, when I actually just first unboxed it and saw the ridges, it was like, oh, cool. And you have this matte finish, which would suggest that this is, you know, that kind of rubberized, gummified type of a surface that's really stick and non-slippery. It's actually not the case, which is really surprising to me. You need to be aware of that it's a really slippery type of a surface. And for a portable reader on the go with a glass screen, not an ideal combination, which is a shame because it really looks pretty. It really feels great. It's a shame that it's that kind of slippery. Other than that, yeah, it's a Go 6. It feels like a Go 6. It looks like a Go 6, except a little bit prettier. So what's on the inside? Well, as far as the specs go, well, it's a Go 6. For the most part, surprisingly, it's incredibly similar to what we've had on the first iteration of Go 6. So we have 300 ppi, 6-inch monochromatic front lid screen with dual adjustable front light. Then we have the octa-core CPU powering all of this, or the SoC, with 32 gigabytes of storage, which it's expandable. Like on the Go 6, we have the micro SD card slot, so it is expandable. And this time it's coming with 3 gigabytes of RAM as opposed to 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is a good thing. It has the support for the magnetic case. It has the same thing like before. So you have like the standard Boox stuff, which is built in Google Play Store. It's at around 6.8 millimeters. It's 160 grams. So a little bit heavier than the previous one. We still have the same 1500 milliamp battery. So what's different? Well, the thing that's different here is that this time it supports the InkSense Plus, and you can actually write on it. Now, my first thought was like, okay, so why is it heavier? Well, maybe it has magnets to support the pen. Well, no, it doesn't. And actually, it's shorter than the pen itself. So the combination of Go 6 and the InkSense Plus pen, which it's designed for, is not really well thought out, is it? Well, I guess it's not a problem because there's no magnet here to kind of fit it with. But for the first time here, we have a proposition, a portable 6-inch device with note-taking capabilities. That is actually quite interesting. So that's the good part. The bad part is that it's coming with an Android 11. The latest, see? That's how slippery it is. It's a very real thing. The latest Android security patch with the latest OS update on the Boox is basically dated 2024 February 1st. And that's a brand new device. I wouldn't mind, Android 11 if Boox OS updates, issue regular security updates, which they do. But the thing is that Android 11 is so old that genuinely there are no other security updates to be had because it's ancient. Something at least a little bit, more current would have been a good idea here, especially if you have a Google Play Store enabled device. That being said, you don't do anything dumb like installing unverified packages and going to really shady sites and things like that when you're browsing, because you can browse on this one essentially. You will be fine. So it's not a catastrophic deal breaker. But if you have a Google Play app that does rely on a later version of an Android and it no longer works with Android 11, and that's your, absolute kind of thing, then this will be, a deal breaker for you, because as we can see here, if I go to CPU-Z here and check it, at first I was thinking like this must be a typo or something, but it's not. It's an Android 11. The SoC in question is Snapdragon 665, so you can see the detailed specs here if that's something that you're interested in. We're not really fully done with the bad news here because like the previous iteration of Go 6, for whatever reason, we still do not have auto rotation or an accelerometer on this device. Not a big deal at all, but it's not a great bit of news either. And lastly, for a device that's on the go, I've checked all the info that I can get, and I can't see that this is IP certified in any way, shape or form. So I am inclined to believe that this device is not waterproof or splash proof. You do have your standard controls here, so you have all of the normal kind of controls, and it's updated to the standard OS 4.2, which does mitigate some of the issues, or a lot of the issues that OS 4.1 has introduced. So that's a good thing. So we're talking about, you have the AI assistant, the new e-ink Wise that's updated. You have the stylus controls, Navi control as mentioned before. You even have a screen recorder, kids mode if that's something that you're interested in. Free mark, which allows you to mark on anything, like on top of anything that's on the screen. Take a screenshot of that and then manipulate it afterwards if you want. It can function as a hotspot. So all of the Boox functionalities are here, including a front light. And if I continue here, there we go. The pen is connected and recognized normally. So all in all, a pretty full package in a really, really small format, or the smallest format basically, because even Palma is 6.25 inches, although different screen format. But to me, if it's a reader in question, then the 4:3 format is what's important, because it mimics the rough proportions of the documents and books and things that you will normally be reading, unless you're completely relying on ebooks, which can be, of course, reformatted. So I went ahead and transferred my standard set of documents already on this device. So let's start with my faithful old document. Let's see the opening speeds. This is a larger document opening for the very first time. Yeah, this is pretty much okay. Nope, I don't want any of this. And we're talking about a really, really small format here. So the very first thing that I'm going to try and do is basically set it up so that we have like fit to screen, and I'm going to do some initial settings that I normally do on global settings. I'll make sure that the hyperlink jump is on, showing bookmarks and showing main menu text. And then in PDF settings, I want to disable boundary line and not show the page break, so that it's a cleaner type of a display. So just kind of doing my initial type of settings here. So I'm going to start just basic navigation here and see what do we get? So let's navigate with a quick link. There we go, that works. And right now, if I go to the refresh mode, we are in Regal refresh mode at normal full refresh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have Regal and speed refresh modes. I've already customized my navigation or side gestures so that I can have a full screen refresh here from the side. This is back, and here I have home, e-inkwise, and multitask switcher. So that's my setup that I've already done off camera before videoing all of this. So the first type of impression here is that this is working fine. I wish that we had an auto rotation, because it's actually quite important for devices like this. Why? Well, because Boox Reader actually gives you quite a bit of options, and on smaller devices like this, I can actually just go like here and say fit to width, right? And now, even though we have like a really small format of a device and a really tiny type of a font with this document, you can actually see that we're now transforming it into something that's actually fully usable. And unless they've changed it so that I no longer have margins, which is entirely possible because Boox is constantly changing things. So let's see, can I adjust my margins? We used to be able to. I can't really find margins unless they have been moved somewhere. So we no longer have margins. Yay, Boox. Anyway, that would have been a nice thing to still have, or it's maybe buried somewhere in the menus where I can't find it, so I can, move it away from the edges a little bit. But even so, this type of fit to width functionality really works well for a document of this type. For now, I'm just going to return this to the orientation that I want. And let's just check the image quality here at the full zoom. So this is looking good, but I think that we're having quite a bit of ghosting here. It seems like the panels are getting worse. Not just with Boox, but especially with Boox, we're getting worse and worse ghosting performance in later devices, because Boox Go 10.2, 10.3 Gen 2 has really bad ghosting. Here we are with Boox Go 6 Gen 2 has really bad ghosting. I'm not entirely certain what's going on and why that's the case, but it certainly is the case. So we also have a speed mode, which is supposed to use their deghosting algorithm, which is now cleaning things up, and you can see it. So you can see how it cleans up the image remnants. So that's better, and it's faster, but you do get meaningful image degradation, which may not be a big deal on EPUBs that can be reformatted and you can adjust the size of the fonts and things. But if you're actually dealing with documents like this one, so this is like the worst case scenario that you can have on a device like this, then it does actually matter. So you do get cleaner type of results as far as ghosting goes in speed refresh mode, but with a meaningful degradation of image quality. So now we're back to HD or to Regal now. So let's open a different document and see how it works when we reflow stuff. All right, so now I have a different document, and this is fit to screen, right? So this is how this document looks like, and obviously the text is super small. So this is an example where we would like to do reflow, which this time is called extract text. But as soon as you tap on it, you have reflow. Reflow has been updated to extract text. Okay, and then it's like, okay, reflowing. And now it has been reflown automatically, right? So it does an automatic setting here, and we can see, not really great. There we go. So this is okay. This is great. This is not that good. The scaling of images is not really that great. and some of the content is lost. I mean, we just have like P1 and then here. So it's not really able to kind of do this by default. So let's see if we engage a slightly larger fonts and spacing as well. So let's see, like, just, you know, slightly larger font, slightly more spacing. And this is not a large document, so it should be quite quick. And let's see what we get with, what kind of results can we expect actually from this type of a thing. So okay, this is a bit better actually. This is a little bit better. We don't have as many empty pages that we've had the first time, but here it's gone completely dodo and it's dissected the photo in many ways. So not that great. Now, the one last thing that I want to check is, can we like strip away images and just directly convert to text and just have a textual type of a document? In which case it's a lot better, I think. Yeah, this looks pretty good. In the text, when you extract to text mode, you actually have the ability to, you know, just have a PDF act like an EPUB, where you can pinch to zoom. Granted, I haven't tried that with the image-based extraction. I'm not really sure that it can do that, but hey, we're here. It's worth trying. Already on the first page. Yeah. So the pinch to zoom type of thing, if you want a PDF to act like an EPUB, for example, definitely possible. And this function, I don't really spend this much time on it on other devices, but on this one, this is actually really important. And you can see that octa-core CPU is really capable of doing this quite nicely. So while the functionality is fairly rudimentary, if you're not relying on images in your PDFs, then yeah, this functionality is really good. If you do rely on images, it's buggy. And now let's see the image quality. We are now in, let's lower the contrast to 0 because it's like really aggressive by default. And we have the Regal refresh mode, normal full refresh, and I made sure that the image smoothing is on. And thankfully it's now on by default. So those are the settings. And let's see deghost here completely and see how the ghosting performance is between these most difficult pages. It's actually quite good. It's managing to do these things really well on this type of content, and I really like the way that the gradient is being handled and how the image smoothing is being handled. So it's producing quite nice results. Some ghosting absolutely is present, but it's nothing catastrophic. It's definitely not on the levels of Go 10.3. So yeah, this seems to be performing better, but yeah, we definitely have some ghosting going on, like we've seen with the other images. So it really depends on the content that you have, but overall it has that pleasant, smooth type of refresh that we've seen on the Go 10.3 Gen 2 as well. We have the same type of thing here, and what I really do like is it kind of goes back to the origins of e-ink. When you have something that's this small and almost like, you know, photo size, physical size, and the way that it behaves, then you kind of want to use it as what e-ink is, you know, when it came from, which is eReader. But here I'm starting to, you maybe are seeing that I'm fumbling and trying some, you know, ninja stuff with my pinky here. I'm trying to find a comfortable way to hold this. And the reason why I'm struggling is that slipperiness. I'm really struggling to confidently hold it with one hand and that it's not constantly on the back kind of slipping like this. So that new surface, even though it's really nicely executed, the material used, way too slippery for my taste. So back to the image quality. Let's now just switch to conclude this. Let's switch to speed refresh and let's see how do we get, yep, it's considerably faster. Active deghosting is doing its thing, but we also have significant image degradation here as well. That being said, it is usable. So it really depends what you want to kind of prioritize. For me, I don't really like any of this, and as you can see, you still end up with situations with ghosting. So you get like ghosting and image degradation. For me, this always wins because the image quality is so much nicer. Right, now let's get to the new thing, which is notes. So no, I'm not going to log in here, but I'm going to test a handwritten note. And let's just use some of the built-in ones. Let's try maybe something like this. I'm not sure which one will work well on this size. Let's try the larger one. Toolbar floating mode. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they, you know, having a dedicated button was too convenient. So you now have to long press and then move it out and then dock it back in. And then in the settings, well, while we're talking about this, let's visit that because it's important as well. They used to have, okay, you see like how much ghosting we have in the menus. Yeah, definitely not a consistent type of behavior. So as far as swiping gestures go, I'm a little bit confused because the previous version, I guess it was on 4.1, maybe that's why. It was showing also underneath here another option, which was like side swipe up and down in the upper sections to hide and unhide the toolbar in notebooks. And now that is gone. So I just wanted to confirm that I'm not going crazy here and that it's actually... In 4.2, you can no longer hide the toolbar, you can only minimize it like this. Not great. So I'm just going to use the pen that I use in 4.2, which is the fountain pen. I know that this pen works well. Let's see the thickness of it, how that is. Okay, so that's good. And we have a button so we can erase. Now let's zoom in and do a first writing test. Alright, so good news first. As you can see, it was effortless to write on this one, which was not the case with the Go 7 series that we've had previously. It's thanks to the new pen that this device is using. So the new InkSense Plus pen that we also have on the Go 10.3 is supported here, and it gives largely really similar or pretty much the same type of results. You will notice the latency as it is somewhere around 30 to 40 milliseconds, at least when I'm eyeballing it, but it is absolutely usable. As you can see here, we have the active refinement of the written strokes. So as you finish writing a stroke and you lift the pen, it does that very faint kind of blink. It's not even a blink, it's just like a whoosh, and it just makes the anti-aliasing and everything look really pretty. So the end result is that for the very first time, we now have a Go 6 device with usable writing performance and abilities. So that's the good news. The bad news is that it's not EMR and it's an active pen. This is a USI 2.0 pen, so yes, you may be able to use some other pens with varying degrees of success. I have experimented on Go 10.3 with not such great results, let's put it like that. Why is this bad news? Well, you have to charge the pen manually. If I go down to here, the pen is now half charged. I have no indication on the pen of the charge itself, and once it runs out, it takes actually quite a bit of time for it to be recharged and to be able to use it again. The second thing is that while this is producing nice results, absolutely it does, the writing feel is very glassy, as this is a very, very smooth surface, as you can see here. Yeah, very clear reflections, which is great for reading because it provides for clarity, and it basically is geared towards optimizing the image quality, so that it definitely works well. But for writing, it's fairly slippery. And the last thing is that this pen is made out of aluminum, and it's very hard, and the oval shape that it actually has, it doesn't really lend itself ergonomically for any type of longer use. I've used this pen now for a while, and I always am getting hand discomfort, pain, or even cramping issues here after about 15 minutes of use of this pen. So those are the negatives of the pen, those are the positives of the pen, but the overall positive here is that, yeah, as I already said, we now have a 6-inch Boox device with all of its capabilities. Most of the capabilities. We don't have the rotation and other newer Android OS version related kind of functionalities because this is Android 11. What's the alternative, especially for $190? And lastly, it comes with a standard, very nicely made and super minimalistic cover. And the cool thing about it is that it's done well. These covers can make or break a small portable device like this. And this one, please keep in mind, this is a cover, not a case, right? So if it falls, it's not really protecting any of the sides. So don't try to fault a cover for not being a case, right? You need to kind of make that differentiation. So for a cover, I think that it's a really lovely minimalistic packaging, and the weight is fine, not really a brick or anything like that. So it's very portable for my kind of needs, the thickness, the size and everything. Like even for a reader, it's like really good. And the thing that I like about it is that when it's something simple as this, that it works properly, and it does. So first of all, the magnets hold the device properly in place. You simply can't, even this is not really falling the device. The cover itself is also magnetically held, so it's not disconnecting. The magnetic are held in the back here, and if you want to close them, the magnets are calibrated well so that it doesn't unstick from here. So all of the aspects are working. You have auto sleep, auto wake up, everything is working. The only thing that's not accommodated is the pen itself, obviously. But the rest of it is really good, and it just kind of makes a nice package. Let's see, how does it cover very demanding and big documents. So we have my daily organizer that you can find on mydeepguide.com/shop. We have the 2026 version here, and that's the monochromatic one. And let's see, navigation is absolutely flawless, so it doesn't have any issues at all. Just going through everything here. It would be nice if we had margins to kind of do it like that, but you can definitely use it like this, or we could just do the rotation. Again, it would be nice if it had auto rotation. Like, I don't understand why don't we have auto rotation. But if we go here to zoom mode, again, fit to width, and then suddenly you actually are having a very usable type of experience on a tiny little device. because all of these things are now perfectly legible, readable, usable, and yeah, you can scroll with 2 fingers and it just kind of works, which is kind of crazy to see how much power you can get out of a tiny device like this. So let's see this. Yes, of course, we have the issues with the touch capabilities, but then you can disable touch. And now that I've disabled touch, let me zoom in so that you can see, because these are the wonders of the Boox OS system. So how do you get it back? The touch no longer functions other than swiping the page, right? So how do you get the menu back? Well, here it is. This little thing here, that's going to expand the bar. So you make sure to tap on that handle, and then you have the touch to be enabled as well. And if you want to get rid of the accidental touches, it's not enough to just disable the touch itself, right? In fact, that's not where it is. This is basically what you need to kind of disable, which is swipe to turn pages. That's the one that's going to be most kind of wrongly interpreted. And for this case, I'm going to turn off pinch to zoom as well. And now I can make normal entries in my MDO 2026 on this tiny little device. That is pretty freaking cool. And the cool thing is that with this combination, since you have touch enabled, you still have normal navigation, right? So you can still navigate between all of these things and just go here, and then I can make entries. Obviously, I would need to make it smaller, but you get my point. So by default, settings are not going to be that great, but the options are there to actually optimize this and get the maximum out of this. And now you can have MDO power with Boox in your pocket with this device. This thing, the addition of this pen, whether you like or not like that pen, yes, it has negatives, absolutely, but it's functional enough to make it actually truly usable. And this portability and this value makes it a really interesting and important consideration as a device. So I guess it just comes down to a really important point here. $190 for the device itself, and on their site it's $200 for this one with the case as well. The pen, if you want it, is $45, I think. So we're talking about $245 for this whole kind of package, the cheapest that I think you can get it. For a portable writing 6-inch Android-powered Android 11 though, but still, you know, Boox capabilities, Google Play Store, ability to have Kindle, Kobo apps, your library apps, and all of that kind of stuff in this tiny little package. So you have like 2 avenues for this device. If you just want a portable reader, then we're talking about $200 for this kind of thing. And I think that's okay, although a bit on the pricier side of things. $150 or $160 would have been a no-brainer. This one is kind of pushing it a little bit more into or on the very edge of the $200. Is it worth it? Depends what you need it and what you want to use it for. The build quality and the features and the performance absolutely is there, both on the cover and on this one. The only problem that I do have, and I think that it's a very real problem, is this slipperiness for a portable device like this. However, where this starts to kind of carve its own section of the market is with the addition of the pen. And here's the thing, yes, it's $45 in addition. However, if you already own a Boox Go 10.3 Gen 2, which already has this pen, and you are already in Boox ecosystem, then for $190 or $200 if you want the cover as well, you get a portable, fully portable, 6-inch portable note taker, reader, document processing type of a tool that does everything that you can do on the Go 10.3 as well, with the abilities to synchronize your work on the go on this small one. And then when you go back home, you synchronize, open up your Go 10.3, and you continue working with the same pen. Same writing feel, same habits, everything the same. That's actually something that's quite valuable and quite rare in the today's market as far as the e-ink devices go. So that's the Boox Go 6 Gen 2. Really cute little device, really powerful. While definitely not perfect, I am concerned with this, as I've shown so many times, and the ergonomics of it. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but I just can't find good enough grip when I'm using this device to try and kind of read it. However, after spending some more time with it, this is really easily remedied with the use of the cover, because this one then actually provides for very nice holding and everything else. So my advice would be, if you're considering this one, definitely get the cover for it, because that basically eliminates that number one concern. Yes, it makes it thicker, which is unfortunate, and would I prefer that it was, not as slippery and that it had that surface like my beloved Poke 2, which is not slippery and was pretty much the same format? Yes, I would, but it doesn't. The second thing is, yes, it has ghosting. Apparently that's a new Boox thing. Boox devices now across the board are going to have increased ghosting. Why? I don't know. You do have that swipe to refresh, and since Note Max is my daily driver and have that kind of setup, I've already built the muscle memory and I don't mind it at all. However, there are competitor products that don't require that use or don't even have it. So in this case, yes, you have it and you need it, because there will be areas where you will want to deghost it. For just regular reading and just EPUB reading on the go, more than adequate enough. And that's usually where the story would end, because you would have the Go 6 or the Poke series, most versatile of the readers because of the Google Play Store and all that kind of stuff. However, it doesn't end with the Go 6 Gen 2, because it supports the pen. And on a paper, it may sound like a small thing, but small thing. But my first impression is that it's actually a really important differentiation. Because if you have another Boox device, especially if you have now another Boox device that already has that pen, InkSense Plus, meaning Go 10 series, and you pair it with this one, you don't have the added expense of buying the pen again. You can reuse the same pen on both of the devices. And then suddenly for 190 or what was it, $200 with the cover, you actually get a truly portable, fits almost anywhere, any jacket pocket or any larger, doesn't fit in a jeans pocket, but fits in pretty much everywhere, with all of the Boox capabilities, or most of the Boox capabilities because of Android 11, so there's some limitations there, and the writing capability. And as I've shown, for example, even like a really complicated and massive document like MDO is, 1,800 pages, like 22 something thousand hyperlinks, this one doesn't care, it just works. You flip it to the side. Would it be great that it had an accelerometer and auto rotation? Yes, it would, but you can rotate it and you can flip it manually, and then you can use it. And suddenly, because of that writing that's actually this time usable with the InkSense Plus, for the first time ever, with an active pen from Boox, I think that this is an important device. It can be easily overlooked and it can be easily dismissed because of the Android 11 thing. Absolutely valid if some of those are your concerns or limitations, as I said before in the video. But if not, I find this one to be really interesting. How about you guys? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!